Hello, 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 and welcome, my wine lovers, Facebook scrollers, and food fans alike. Another episode of Cellar Chats for the weekly wine flights here at Second Class. Got another pretty spectacular flight set up for this week. I'm very happy about it. You know, the weather is continuing to be all things autumnal, autumn, fall. It's festive. It feels great. Sorry, messaging on my phone as I film. So this week we are traveling to the Pacific Northwest, specifically to Washington State, to dive into a few little beautiful gems from up that way. We're going to kick it off with a little Sauvignon Blanc from Andrew Will, which I'm really excited to get into. These are lovely wines. I've only ever had their whites a couple of times. Roll over to Gramercy Cellars, their Rosé, which is a fan favorite. I believe we featured it early on in the season. She had a little bit left, so we're able to feature this again, which is excellent. And then off to Revelry Vintners, their Merlot, because you know what? Merlot can always use to have a little spotlight. So let's dive in. So Andrew Will, these guys based in, most of their vineyards are based in the Yakima Valley. Here, this is their Cuvée Lucia, or Lucia. I'm going to go with Lucia. Sauvignon Blanc, but, labeled as Sauvignon Blanc, but it is only 75% Sauvignon Blanc, and there's 25% Semillon. So very, very classic white Bordeaux kind of template there. Yes, that's right. Bordeaux does make white wine, for those of you who are not familiar, and they are excellent. You just don't see them very often, and they don't make that much. And they're just overshadowed by the red wines. But that being said, hello. All right, so Sauvignon Blanc, a little bit of Semillon. Again, like I was saying, that classic white Bordeaux template. This is done in stainless steel and then aged in oak for about 8 months. 25% new oak and 25% neutral oak, and then 50% stainless steel. So kind of a mix of different things. You get a lot of texture and roundness from the oak. You keep that precision and cleanliness with the stainless steel. And this all comes from what is kind of like their estate vineyard, which is called Two Blondes. On the nose, this is not your New Zealand high grapefruit or Sancerre, like citrus-driven Sauvignon Blanc. This has got more mouthfeel, more depth, a lot of richness to it. Yes, so good. It is Sauvignon Blanc for this time of the year. As I was saying, Sancerre and New Zealand and even a lot of Sauvignon Blancs pretty much everywhere that you see have really leaned this style of mineral and driven and crisp. And those are excellent wines. I love them, but they tend to take precedence over a little fuller bodied styles of Sauvignon Blanc like this bottle. And they really make a lot of sense in the summer, although I think you can drink them year round, just like anything. But as you get into the cooler months, we're talking heartier meals, you get a little bit of oak aging, you get a little bit of that Semillon, which really brings some floral and textural weight to the wine. And this is just perfect late afternoon sipping for October. Big fan. I think everybody's going to love this. So please come out and try it. Excellent wine. A little bit of like lychee, sort of like, not like custard seems a little bit intense, but there's like a textural richness that is so pretty about this wine. Again, that's Andrew Will, the Cuvée Lucia Sauvignon Blanc. And again, that is mostly Sauvignon Blanc with a touch of Semillon. All right, moving on and that comes from Yakima Valley. And now we're moving over to Columbia Valley for the Gramercy Cellars Rosé Olsen Vineyard. There's really not much to be said here. It is a fan favorite. It's usually one of the first rosés of the season to sell out when we get it in. It always over-delivers on so many levels. It's primarily Cinsault with a little bit of Grenache and Syrah. The project was, started, the Rosé project, not the whole winery project. The Rosé project was really started, as part of the winery. They just love drinking fresh rosés, and Washington State's really known for their reds. although they make excellent whites, but the red is what they're known for, and that's what Gramercy Cellars makes the most of. But they really wanted to have something really fresh and delicious to drink in the summer months, because something that I think a lot of people don't realize is that it's really hot in Washington. You know, we think as we go further north, you're in Oregon, we picture it being wet and rainy. We picture Washington being wet and rainy, but, you know, realistically, where the grapes are grown in Washington, it's quite hot and dry. So having something refreshing to drink is sort of a necessity, especially when you're working long hours in the vineyards. So started out as kind of a project for the winery. It has very quickly gained traction and has become, I think, any person in the industry who is a fan of Gramercy Cellars, the Rosé is usually at the top of the list of one of their favorite things to drink. I mean, loads of like kind of melon, citrus, like salty mineral characteristics. I'm thinking like salty, like watermelon rind. This wine is, it is so good. And really there is no more of this to be had. We were fortunate that Celeste had actually picked up quite a bit of this and was still sitting on some, so we were able to feature it again this week, and I couldn't be happier with it. Again, this wine's done 100% stainless steel, so we're going from this full-bodied, rounded, oaked, but doesn't taste oaky Sauvignon Blanc into this kind of very clean, linear rosé, but there's so much texture on the back end from the fruit and that time in contact with the skins. It's such a pretty evolution. Wow. I think I'm just going to take that home and call it a day. So, again, that was Gramercy Cellars, their Olsen Vineyard Rosé, mostly Senso, some Grenache, and Syrah. All right, moving over to what Washington State is really known for, red wine. This is Revelry Vintners, their Columbia Valley Merlot. Now, for anybody out there who is thinking, Merlot is terrible, I don't like Merlot, stop right now and ask yourself, when's the last time you actually drank a Merlot? Because I find most times when people say that, they haven't had Merlot in years, or they had it once and they didn't like it, or they rarely can even tell me when they had Merlot. And it's usually this, unsubstantiated bias towards Merlot based on the lovely movie Sideways and pretty much everyone else saying that they don't like Merlot. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I get it. It's fine. But please give Merlot a chance. It is one of the greatest grape varieties in the world. It is capable of producing some of the most incredible wines you'll ever taste. And it deserves a little more attention. So, Revelry, these guys, they make a handful of different wines, again, based in Columbia Valley. This is part of what they call their Columbia Valley series. They've got 2 more step-up levels, so this is kind of their everyday stuff. I've always appreciated Revelry for making just solid, everyday price point wines in general. Their Cabernet, their Merlot, their blend. These are just super fun, really tasty, on-point styles of wine that are great to drink anytime. And you know what? This is anytime, so let's have some. Definitely got a little bit of like oaky characteristic here. This is 100% Merlot, by the way. There's nothing else in here. A little bit of herbaceousness, which I really like. Can be very pretty. Wow. That is so pretty. Kind of like this beautiful, like plummy, currant kind of characteristic. A little bit of like vanilla and caramel from that oak aging. It does spend about 18 months in barrel. 30% of that is new barrel. And then the rest is stainless steel and neutral oak. So there's some richness here, but it is not overwhelming, which is really excellent. The wine is so pretty. It's been a long time since I had this, to be totally honest. And it is more restrained than I thought it would be, in a good way. Oftentimes, entry-level wines from just about anywhere, particularly from Washington, California, they tend to be bombastic and overwhelming. And this wine it's got all the plushness and richness that I would expect from a wine from this area, but done in a way that is so drinkable and so delicious. And I just realized it's like 13.9% alcohol. Not that that dictates anything, but it's not an overly big and heavy wine. It's still a little restrained on the alcohol. This is gorgeous. What a great lineup. I'm so excited about this. All right, quickly, let's recap. Andrew Will, Cuvée, Lucia, Sauvignon Blanc for the first wine on the weekly wine flight. Gramercy Cellars, Olsen Vineyard, Rosé. You're going to want to have this. And the Revelry, Vintners, Merlot, Columbia Valley. Come drink some Merlot and change your mind about how delicious Merlot can be and should be. The flights start tomorrow night. That's Wednesday night. Run through the weekend or until they're out. Be safe, have fun, support local, and I'll see y'all next week.